Guys, I'm going to talk about the international affairs, and today let's discuss the U.S.-Israel relationship. It's very complicated. It's a dynamic. We don't have much certainty, but one thing is for sure. If you want to use one word to describe the relationship between U.S. and Israel, it's asymmetric, meaning that from the U.S. side, it's really big money. It's really a serious money. By memorandum of understanding, uh, each year the U.S. will provide almost $4 billion, $3.8 billion. They call it a security assistance. Okay, and then all the way to 2028. And of course, if there's anything, any emergency situation happen, there may be even way more than $3.8 billion. So each year, U.S. spends so much money on the Israel. You would think that Israel would be basically in a client state. Whatever U.S. said, that Israel will listen to it. Just like Lindsey Graham, he's claimed that Israel is best aligned, and then they give us all the benefit. That's I don't think not I don't think many people will really deeply understand him. He's basically talking to himself. But we all know that. So let's give you some context. Just on the security side, I just want to mention there have been report. Back all the especially in the early on, like in 1980s, Israel it's been reported to give the weapon system either by the U.S. supplied by the U.S. or their own weapon system, but it's supported by the U.S. money, right? And so technically, you're supposed to have the loyalty, but in fact, they're not. What I see is basically, Israel is kind of like a double betting. They're betting on the U.S. They don't want to lose U.S. Obviously, U.S. is their major supplier in terms of money and the other resources. But also, they don't want to lose money. They don't want to lose the connection with the China. They have been um, sold uh, weapons, advanced weapons. Back then, the China could not do it, make themselves. And then Israel provided that, and the U.S. was pretty mad, and then asked Israel to stop. Sometimes it stop. Okay, so that's one thing. That shows that how little loyalty Israel really has towards its relationship to the U.S. Okay, but not only that, because sometimes I remember there was one prime minister of the UK. I forgot his name, maybe Major Tony Blair or whatever. He or maybe even Boris Johnson. When people retired, a lot of truth comes out. So I think the Johnson, after he retired, he published a book, and then in the book he mentioned something interesting. He said one day that when Netanyahu is visiting Downing 10 Downing Street, and then he it's really laughable because you know he went to the bathroom, and then afterward coming back, and obviously the UK, they have they have something allergic to it, so they ask people to have a very thorough, complete, comprehensive searching, and they found a few bucks in the 10th Downing Street. It's hard to imagine that the head of a state of any country would do that themselves. Uh, so that's just show that the how little loyalty they have. I think if you think I want to use that the French king of Louis 15, he said after me. the flood. Basically, that if after I died, I died, I don't care what happened. So it's kind of the maximizing their own interest. There are this morning I heard some report. Um, what is it? But he was saying, Tuck something of as a conservative guy. He was saying that they will report several times, at least two times, that the Israeli, the Mossad, the spies have been trying to put some devices on the president vehicles, and then found out. So it make me thinking. You can. It's hard for you not to think that for Israel, everything is their own interest, everything above everything, right? You may want to, economists may say, oh, they're just acting rationally. But in real life, a lot of people would have that self constraint. Even though this is a rational thing to do, they may not do that. Why? Because we have some moral constraint. We have like a loyalty constraint. You have multiple other things that you have to take into account. So, but for Israel, they don't have that, barriers. They don't have that, their mentality that to stop them or slow them down to do anything they want. Okay, so that's just the one thing that I can think of. How do we explain that? I think it's not me. Actually, I was quoting a famous journalist. He's a critical of Israel and the Israel policy. His name is Levi, Gideon Levi. I can't pronounce. I'm sorry if I pronounce his name. He basically cited two important values. That's kind of it's key for you to understand the Israel and the Israelis, especially Jewish Israelis. The first one is that they strongly believe they're the chosen people. Okay, so if you're chosen by the God, who came to them? You can do whatever you want, because whatever they're doing is doing whatever the God wants them to do, right? That takes away a lot of the mental and moral burden out of it. Okay. The second thing is that they believe that they are the one and only victim. They are global victim. You know, so that kind of like entitlement can explain a lot of behavior they have. So I try to think that to a lot of extent that the U.S. has been basically they don't, instead of having a commanding power over the U.S. That may be the wrong term, because in a country, each country is a sovereign state, so you're not supposed to have a commanding power. But anyway, I'm just thinking that if the major supplier, whether in terms of money and also in the technology, they should have shown, Israel should have shown some appreciation and responsibilities to that. At least not to sell the weapon system to another country, right? That's just a violation of international intellectual properties. And then another thing, so those two things. Well, Levi also mentioned another thing, is that which is fundamentally believe that the Israel superior. Just like in a way, the irony is that just like Hitler believed that the German population is a biological and moral superiority over Israel, over the Jews, right? So now the Jewish people, Jewish Israelis, they have a sense of superiority over the Arabian Jews. So that's why it can explain a lot of things. Um, they apply different laws to the Jewish people and versus the Arabian people. And in the West Bank, they're not. Israel is not protecting the Arabics. So all this kind of thing. If you put this, this different three fundamental value system, you can understand it. So let's stop here.